some events, but not all the events. A person who experiences a brownout may recall an event when prompted by a conversation or other trigger. AJ, you want to tell me about blackouts?
Okay, I can actually give you a better example, a more dangerous example of a blackout. In 2000, I believe it was 2011 or 2012, there was a woman who had been pulled over several times and had several DUIs on her record. She was driving over a bridge here in Jacksonville at, I don't know what time, it was in the wee hours of the morning, and she cut off another vehicle, causing that other vehicle to go over the bridge. And in that vehicle was a mother and 4 of her children. She continued on to drive. And luckily, there was another driver that had followed this woman home where they called the cops and they had arrested her. Could you imagine waking up in jail, not knowing why you're there, and then find out you just killed 5 people?
No, I can't. No, I can't.
That would freak me out. That literally would freak me out. But that's how dangerous blackouts can be.
Blackouts can be.
And they have somewhere, I've actually listened to the 911 call of the individual who was following this woman home. Like, it's freaky. So, and blackouts are just, and like I said, it's not necessarily how much you drink, but how fast you drink them, because, like, well, you're going to explain the whole liquor thing.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. All right, let's get into, is a blackout a sign of alcohol use disorder? Is it, AJ?
I would say so. I had a conversation with my brother once where I had a gallon of rum in one hand and a phone in the other, and I noticed that I was having blackouts more often. So I actually called him and said, is it a problem if you're having blackouts more than normal? Like, there's such thing as a normal blackout.
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Okay, let's get into what AmericanAddictionCenters.org says. A recent study found that some brains are more prone to blackouts from alcohol or drugs than others. Alcohol, in particular, affects some neural pathways that move memories from short-term to long-term storage. People who drink heavily or binge drink may, as a result, lose memories or struggle with amnesia regarding the previous evening. This study found that some people's memory pathways are more vulnerable to this condition than others. Generally, about 40% of the population is prone to blackouts when drinking heavily. While blacking out after drinking too much can be one symptom of a potential alcohol use disorder, it is not a symptom everyone experiences. Is that true, AJ?
I find it to be true now. I did not see it as a problem back then. You know, in fact, I thought it was funny. I don't remember. But now that I look back at it, I realized that I was having blackouts for years.
Wow.
It wasn't just at the tail end of my drinking career.
Heavy alcohol consumption, especially when it occurs routinely, has been associated with brain damage as well as damage to several other organ systems in the body. However, there is little to correlate alcohol-related blackouts and brain damage. While a person who blacks out from drinking too much regularly will likely begin to experience brain damage, this is because they drink too much too often. Blackouts are only symptoms that occur when they drink too much too fast. Yep, exactly. Experience a blackout after drinking does not mean that a person has a substance abuse problem. But it does mean that they drank more than their body could process over the course of a day or evening. People who often complain about memory loss or blacking out after drinking are more likely to have alcohol use disorder, indicated by the fact that they consume alcohol on a regular basis, not that they experience blackouts. However, people who black out frequently from drinking too much are also likely to have a higher tolerance to alcohol, so their BAC will often be higher than 0.15 when they experience a blackout. For people with a higher tolerance to alcohol, a BAC of 0.2 or greater leads to a blackout. This is extremely dangerous since life-threatening alcohol poisoning begins at a BAC of 0.3. AJ?
I never really got into the technicals because I didn't want to know.
Well, it's
Like I
kind of
said,
being
I did
thrown at
not-
you now.
I didn't want to see it as a problem, but the more I think about it, I had my first blackout when I was 12. But looking back at it, I see that from the early 2000s on up,
Right?
they definitely became almost a regular part of what I was doing.
That's because you were drinking regularly.
Which probably explains my problem with short-term memory.
Yes. And I'm going to get further into that too. All right, let's talk about some symptoms associated with levels of intoxication.
Okay.
There are some general symptoms that begin with different levels of intoxication. For reference, 1 unit is a 12-ounce beer, a 5-ounce glass of wine, or a 1.5-ounce shot of liquor. Whether it's straight shot or in a mixed drink doesn't matter, but that's 1 shot of liquor. So when I say a unit of something, I'm talking about 1 12-ounce beer, a 5-ounce glass of wine, or a 1.5-ounce shot of liquor. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. So let's talk about 4 to 6 drinks. We're going to start there.
Mm-hmm.
The brain begins to experience the effects of alcohol. Judgment and decision-making abilities are impaired. The person's reaction times will get slower, and they will feel lightheaded or woozy. However, the person is still likely to remember events. Now, that's 4 to 6 units. So up to a 6-pack of beer, you'll probably still remember what's going on.
That's usually that happy-go-lucky, ha-ha, make yourself sound like an idiot.
Exactly. Let's get into 8 or 9 drinks. Reaction times are slowed and speech slurs. Vision may change, and issues with double vision or loss of focus may appear. A hangover is likely to set in for most moderate to heavy drinkers after 8 to 9 drinks. AJ, do you think you were there?
I never went. I was a shot drinker. I was a whiskey drinker, and unless I was in a bar, I drank straight out of the bottle.
So you have no clue how many units you drank.
Exactly.
That's okay. Let's get into 10 to 12 drinks. Coordination is severely impaired, and the risk of an accident and personal injury is very high. Drowsiness is likely. Dehydration and headache are more likely as the body processes alcohol, which is becoming very difficult for the liver and kidneys. Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and indigestion are all likely at this stage as well. This is where when you have too much to drink, you start to throw up. Right? Some of us...
got peeing in the pants.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. That's not even listed. But that's the point where you know you have had way, way, way too much.
Yeah. If you start to lose all control over your bodily functions, it's safe to say that you've had a wee bit too much.
Safe? Yeah, I'd say so. Before I get into more than 12 drinks, we're going to go to our next commercial break, brought to you by Contel Wholesale Diamonds of Tampa Bay. Shine bright like a diamond. Engagement rings, wedding bands, custom designs, certified diamonds, fine jewelry, and they buy gold. You'll find them quicker and faster at rainbow411.com. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Dario, and you're listening to GSHradio.com.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Tune in to GSH Radio every weekday at noon for your daily dose of news, hot topics, and local events that matter to you. Right here, right now, on GSH Radio.
And we're back with Pit Stop. AJ, you on the line?
I'm drinking coffee.
Oh, good. I have mine too. All right, so we're talking about how a certain number of drinks start to impair you, okay? So we finished up with 10 to 12 drinks, and you brought up the fact that that's also when you start losing bodily function. And the next one on the list, of course, is more than 12 drinks. Now, if you're drinking straight from the bottle, when you're drinking straight from the bottle, you don't have a count of how much you've actually drank. Alcohol poisoning.
Take it to the head.
Alcohol poisoning is likely. Breathing, heart rate, and gag reflex can all change. People who are not prone to blackouts may experience all of these symptoms in an evening of heavy drinking and remember them the next day. Those who are more prone to blackouts, however, will begin to experience them around 4 to 6 units of alcohol, especially consumed in 1 hour. That puts the person's BAC at 0.15 or higher. Right off the bat, in the first hour, you're likely to have a blackout if you are prone to them. Wow. The liver can only process 1 unit of alcohol per hour. Yeah, 1 unit of alcohol per hour. When a person consumes 2 units of alcohol in 1 hour, their BAC reaches 0.08. That's the legal limit in most states in the United States. You cannot drive legally. 2 drinks in an hour and you legally can't drive.
Because I was perfectly fine.
They must wait until their liver has processed their beverages before they can safely get behind the wheel. That's the legal ramifications, guys. I know, like, right after work, you head for happy hour, and of course, you could have, 2, 3, 4 right in that hour. Well, hopefully you're going to stay there till 10, 11 o'clock at night without drinking any more so that you can get behind the wheel.
And the problem with that is you stay there till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. You're not going to stop drinking.
Exactly.
I'm here anyway.
Exactly. That be the problem, kids, which is why there are so many DUIs and so many problems on the roads, because you don't realize how slow your liver actually can get rid of the alcohol content in your drinks. If you plan on partying, stay home. Go to a friend's house and sleep over.
Here's the way I've come to look at it since I've been sober, because I was one of those people that didn't see a problem with getting behind the wheel and driving. But I now look at it like we have a God-given right to destroy our lives if we want to. What we don't have the right to do is to put other people's lives in jeopardy. And when you get behind the wheel of a car and drive while you're intoxicated, that's exactly what you're doing.
Absolutely. You're not jeopardizing just your life. It's not only the people that you're going to pass on the road and possibly jeopardize theirs. Think about if something happens to you, who gets to pay for everything? Your loved ones. the people who try to take